guest is Angell Deer, and he is a renowned shaman, ordained minister, mystic, medicine man, and international speaker. He's also the founder of The Sanctuary, which is a healing center in New York. I just love that so much. It's still one of my plans to go visit you there and just do like one of your retreats or something like that. He's also the author of The Sacred Web, the magical craft of your sacred shamanic space. So, Angel, so good to have you here.
So good to be here, Sam.
Welcome back. So, I'd like to just ask you first to share just your story to what led you to the shamanic path. I know like you used to be in a whole different world and now you're here doing this amazing work for so many years. So please share your journey.
Yeah, I guess, most of my journey, I think like everybody, has been weaved by a search for meaning, a search for purpose. I used to be in the corporate world and have my own company that I started quite young. It was very successful by the metrics of the Western world. We had 300 employees. We raised over $50 million for it. I mean, it sounds crazy to me now when I look back. But I was deeply unhappy internally. So I was caught into what I have called the achievement trap, trying to be successful or answer, family, systems, culture, whatever that was that wanted me to be a certain version of myself. And the more successful I became, the less happy I was inside. And at some point, there was such a huge difference between the public image, we're doing a lot of TV interviews and radio shows and things like that. And what I was feeling inside that I quit everything with nothing. I didn't take any money. I just left literally with a backpack. And I spent many years studying with masters, teachers. I went to India first, and then I went to Nepal, and I went to the Philippines, and then somehow I ended up in the jungle in Peru and the Sacred Valley in Peru, where I ended up meeting my teacher that I've been studying for over 15 years now with. And all of that led me to, transformed, finding the right tools that could really guide my life. I always say that I think I lived most of my life before that with the wrong GPS for my soul. It was a GPS that was given to me by the Western world, and I discovered an ancient, timeless GPS, which is weaved in the ancient cosmologies of the Andes. And I started studying it because I was really thirsty for wisdom. I was thirsty for meaning. And I wanted, to save my life because my life was not going to go well if I didn't do that. And over the years, I ended up, becoming a teacher and working with plants and creating a healing center and opening an online school, running retreats, publishing books. Yeah, that's where I am today.
I just love hearing this. It's just like very inspirational. And also like how one of the conversations that I have with many people, like including like my clients, like a lot of people want to like they know what like they have like a passion for like just something different. They know where they are is not exactly what they want. It's not fulfilling. But the courage to leave that and explore something different, like it's not there. It's like there's a lot of fear. So I want you to like speak onto that because you've experienced that. I don't know if you've had any fears or you were like just more like done, like, I just can't deal with this. I'd love to hear about like that transition. Was it just seamless or how did you just go for it?
Yeah, it was not seamless. Initiations in life are never seamless. And my teacher used to say, you can either jump in the raging river or wait for spirit to come with a 2x4 and hit you in the head and just throw you in there. So that's like one way or another, either you decide to do it or spirit somehow brings some kind of breakdown, some kind of, divorce, big change in your life, and then you're confronted with the pain. I don't think it's ever seamless. At least traditionally, it's never seamless. The stories about initiation and transformation are always through some level of suffering that is intense enough that life as it is become unacceptable. And I think that you said something interesting, which is, there are fears. There's always there was a lot of fears at the time. There are still fears today. It's not like they've gone anywhere, but my relationship to them has drastically because I have a guidance system that I know, despite it might be dark, despite it might be confronting, I know this system works, right? So it's kind of it's building that kind of faith and trust. And also, I believe, finding the right people on our path that have gone through that and that are the right person. I think very often people ask, what should I do? And my answer is very often, who should you do it with? Or who would you listen to? Because I think, going to the right places. When I say woo, it can be ancient wisdom, it can be a teacher, but finding people that have had the relevant experience in life that is maybe similar to certain degrees to yours is really important. But there come a moment where you look in the mirror in the morning and you're living a lie. I work with a lot of people that are, I would say, high net worth individual, people that sometimes have a lot of money, are very successful, especially women. They have a nice career and they have the kids and the houses in the Hamptons and, just the whole thing, right? But the first things that they tell me when we start diving in is that this is not my life. There is something else. I just don't know what it is, but there is this dream sometime, or there is something else that is calling me. And if I talk about it, I might sound crazy if I talk about it to my family, to my colleagues, right? And so I think it's really important to know, first, that we're not crazy. Second, that we are born with a calling, and very often that was never nurtured in the Western world. We're kind of framed into something else. It's very different from an indigenous ancient perspective, where you're born with a calling and this will be nurtured. And you will have initiation. It's built into the community, right? It's built into life. And very often, because we don't go through that. I mean, women might go through initiation when they birth a child, right? There are initiation that are rite of passages, but I think it's not always framed in the context of community, in the context of the greater goods of service.
I love that you mentioned I was going to ask you about something else, but since you mentioned the rites of passages, I think that's like very important. And I think there's like initiation. Like, I think those rituals are so important and they're not done anymore just because of the society we live in. So westernized and so like, it's just like there's like this thing that this path for everyone that you get to follow. Like, you, by this age, you do this, you need to, like, if you want to make money, you either be a doctor, engineer, lawyer, like there's like this like thing, like, and then by this age you need to get married, have children, and then that's it. It's like already set. And I think those rights are so important. So to speak on that, like, what do they even look like for both like men and women, and just the importance of those initiation?
Well, traditionally they would involve isolating you from the culture, from the group. So you are kind of moved out of the container in order to be with yourself, right? In order to be with the teachers of nature, the trees, the plants, the animals, the land, the rivers, things like that. Very often also traditionally, those initiations were potentially dangerous, meaning there was a knowing that you might not come back, and that was accepted. The idea behind it was that not only the transformation is going to be painful and difficult, but if you don't do it, you will die internally. You will die to who you truly are. So basically, that was a gift, to go on those initiation. But I've worked with certain cultures and tribes where children, if sometimes quite young, can be put in a situation that maybe Western people will be like, this is abuse, or this is not okay, right? Because they put in the forest on their own for like a week. People always come back, right? But what they learn in that initiation is their own strengths, their own wisdom, their own connection, their own power, right? Because it's not someone saving you, you save yourself. And that gives you the stamina and the courage that when other life initiations might come up, that you have the resources, right? You don't feel powerless. And we live in a culture where we have the opposite idea that any kind of pain should be numbed. We take painkillers, right? Any kind of difficulty, it should be easy, basically, right? Well, it's not. I mean, look at how most people live, right? People don't always have an easy life, right? But there is this kind of premise that modernity is bringing comfort, but comfort is the enemy of transformation. Because to transform, you need discomfort. And so we're really dealing with kind of a cultural problem even around languages, around pain and around transformation, that we have this idea that somehow healing is about not feeling the pain anymore. From a more traditional perspective, healing is understanding the pain, getting to the root of it, getting the wisdom that is there, and then bring that gift back to the world, to the community. Once you go through your initiation, you come back to the community with a gift, and the community is going to be healed by that gift. Think of us when people go through a mental breakdown or something really terrible. What we try to do is kind of bring them back into the mold, right? Make them feel normal or belong again, right? Where in fact, from a traditional perspective, you being different, you experiencing something, some form of crisis is the gift. It's a gift for you. And if you are supported in the right way, as you come back, it's going to be the gift for the community, right?
100%.
And if we don't do that, we basically are constantly in crisis as a culture or as a group because nobody goes through proper initiation. And the medicine that we carry don't change. The person that leaves and come back brings new medicine. It has experienced something else and comes back. But if you are in a container like in the Western culture where, we just try to tame it and numb it, right? Then you never really transform. And then we see cultures that constantly go through crises that are unresolved, using the same tools to resolve the problem as before they didn't work. And then the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think, that's pretty clear. You look at the environment, you look at social issues, everything, you can see that basically we're basically not capable somehow to think of another way, right?
Yeah. It's 100%. I think you said it very beautifully because I think like even now, like even when you look at parents, there's a lot of parents who actually do their best to have their children avoid any painful situation, discomfort. They want them to just be comfortable. And I think that's why we have weak people, like really, like because like if you just avoid everything and you just want easy and comfortable, like there's no resilience, there's no strength, there's no wisdom that come with that. So you wait for age to bring you wisdom. And it's like, and also like that's what also created how just emotionally there's not that maturity. Like it's like you can be 45 years old and you still like have the emotional the emotion, like how do I say that, like the emotion of like a child. Like you still like that maturity of just how you manage your feelings and how you navigate your feelings. It's still like of a child. Like that initiation didn't happen for you, that transition. And I think that's why it's important to just like go for the discomfort and just try different things and challenge yourself. And I love also what you said, how comfort is like, it's actually like comfort is like 100% an illusion. I think we are never comfortable. I think we create those illusion of comfort like through different things, through like social media or like food, and we are in our own bubble and we think we're comfortable, but it's really not.
Yeah, it's an illusion, like safety in some ways, that somehow we're safe in that job or in that, and then something happened, we're not, right? So it's this illusion of control, that we have full control of our life, and we create that false safety net, and then something, comes, which could be internal, which could be an illness, or outside, like I don't know, a divorce or loss of a job, or confronted to death of a very dear one next to us, and then realize, in fact, on the big things, we don't have any control, right?
Yeah. And the control is a whole other thing. So I personally had like a lot of struggle. I did a lot of work, or just like trying to let go of control and just trying to control everything, trying to control like literally all the things that I have no control over. And it has been a journey for me. And I think my question for you, actually, when I actually thought about inviting you, I wanted us to talk about plant medicine and how it can help us like maybe kind of let go of that control and also like open ourselves up to new experiences, to deep healing. I'll let you talk about that and what you do in your own retreats and work with your own.
Yeah, we bring people to Peru, for having those experiences, but just as a general kind of overview of it, the idea is to make you pass the threshold of your conscious mind to access other dimensions or reality in order to see your own life in this reality from a different angle, right? An entheogenic plant, what's often called plant medicine, is a way to do that. And when done in a proper context, meaning a traditional context with people who are properly trained with this medicine, it can be life transforming. I've known, people that were veterans back from, 10, 15, 20 years from Iraq and living with PTSD for literally 20 years that in one night are off med and completely healed, right? I'm talking about people having bipolar syndrome, people having some very serious issues that are really like literally overnight completely transformed. But when it comes to purpose, let's say, or life visioning, very often it's an initiation because you've never gone through such experience. And very often you might believe that there is another world out there and things are alive and the tree can talk to you and, you can talk to the river. But when you experience it and you receive guidance from that being that doesn't look like a human being, right? But tell you something that is completely out of the blue and so true and so unexpected, you cannot deny there is an intelligence, that there is something that can guide you. So the whole purpose is to, once again, is to take people out of their community, out of their context, put them through an experience that has a certain intensity, surviving it because everybody survive it, and come back really different. And then comes what we call integration, which is returning home, returning to the community, returning to the family, and bringing that wisdom back, which is not only going to heal your life, but heal your relation, your children, your wife or husband, your colleagues, right? Very often people come back and say, wow, my whole relationship with my whole family or my mother, I didn't have a relationship for 25 years. And now we're so close. We have so much intimacy. We can talk about things we never talked before. So it has an effect, a ripple effect on communities, and on the collective. So very often people say, well, that sounds very kind of selfish to do all that self-healing and transformation. But, it's really the less selfish things you can do, because
100%.
ultimately it's going to be in service of the greater collective.
Yeah.
Either it's nature, either it's your family, either it's your children. So there is a lot that can be said about it, because now it's pretty popular to do those retreats and, to go to Peru or other places for that. But yeah, it's not the one modality for everyone too. Some people are not feeling called, and I'm not saying everyone should do it, but if people are called into it, I think it's something they should explore, right?
I personally, I'm a big fan of plant medicine. I've tried a couple of things and it completely changed like my perception of myself. So many things. And it's still one of my best. It's like, I remember like I had this one experience, and then a whole year later, I was still integrating a lot of like breakthroughs. Like it was like so much. It was like so freaking awesome. It's like it was a 1 year of in-depth. I don't know how to call it, like in-depth healing experiences. Like it was so beautiful. And for me, it was more like also just my need of control was always like my brain, like a lot of thoughts, a lot of limitation, a lot of like, even when I was doing a lot of work, a lot of mindset work, I still had like those like, sneaky thoughts that I wasn't even aware of them. And in those experiences, I was able to see all those things, see them for what they are. Like I would literally be having a conversation and I was like, this is not even me. Like who put that in my head? That's not even me. It was so really deep. And I think when you experience it, you get it. But yeah, it's really good. Thank you for sharing that. So I know we have like 3 minutes left before you leave. You have to leave. So just so can you share with everyone where they can find you? And I have one last question for you if we still have like a minute or two.
Yeah, people can, visit my website, thesanctuaryheal.com. If you are interested to look at our, main program, which is a Sacred Purpose Blueprint, which is about finding your purpose and getting into alignment. We have a free training online that people can go through. It's a 1-hour training that gives you a little bit of content. And maybe I can put the link here. And if not, just reach out, right? But ultimately, I know that everybody is powerful and has the answer. The question is, do you have the tool to access it, right? Because it's not about knowing that we're powerful. I mean, that's something you need to know, and maybe you don't believe it 100%, but it's having the right tool that are going to allow you to unearth that in order to come into alignment with the self and live a life that's still going to go through ups and downs, because that's called life, but it's going to be in alignment. I'm very clear, my life is not perfect. There is bad days. There is days where I don't feel well, right? But I know it's in alignment. I know that where I am and where I'm going right now, I'm pointing it in the right direction. And I think that gives you the strength and stamina necessary very often to just go through whatever is coming your way.
Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you so much for being here. I think we're right on time, but I just love what you said about, I think we're in a time of like a lot of information and we think we know, and it's not about the knowing, it's about really the experiencing of the knowing. That what creates the transformation and Yeah. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Salma. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, have a blessed day. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here and share.
Thank you.